Well, former Missouri Governor and U.S. Senator Christopher Kit Bond has passed away.
The 86-year-old is being remembered as a legend in Missouri and U.S. politics. Fox News' Andy Banker is here with why that is the case, Andy.
This ought to sum it up, right? A lot of what you're hearing is being said by Democrats. A lot of the praise coming from that side of the aisle. And Senator Kit Bond was certainly a Republican. He did things, though, for the country, the state, and St. Louis that no other Missouri lawmaker has ever done.
In the office of Governor of the state of Missouri,
so help me God.
So help me God.
After losing the Missouri governor's seat as an incumbent in 1976, Kit Bond won it back in 1980. The man from Mexico, Missouri, first entered public office more than 10 years earlier at age 29 as an assistant attorney general under John Danforth, with whom he would later serve in the U.S. Senate.
He functioned on a bipartisan basis. The Family and Parental Leave Act was one of his creations. He got all kinds of things done for Missouri. He was on the Appropriations Committee, so roads and bridges, all of that. And Kit Bond was maybe the most consequential person in the history of our state. And that's what we lost today.
Democrats and Republicans alike call him a champion for the state and the St. Louis region, be it cleaning up nuclear waste in Weldon Spring, helping a young Democratic mayor secure federal funding to remake Washington Avenue in downtown St. Louis, or to build a pedestrian bridge over car traffic at the St. Louis Zoo, following the tragic death of young Luke Maui, killed there by a drunk driver.
He was an outstanding person, and just a fun guy to be around. He was a professional, but he had a great personality as well. There was no talk about party politics when he and I were together and working on things. It was just about helping to get things done for his constituencies and for the state of Missouri.
His idea of being a U.S. senator was not to get on the evening news. His idea was to be a legislator, and that's what he was. He was a legislator's legislator.
We can have a government that is known for its integrity, respect, compassion, and pride.
A lot of people talk about his sense of humor, so here's an example of that. He was known as a king of pork, always securing millions for Missouri in federal dollars. He responded to critics by saying, well, next time I'll bring my own barbecue sauce.
He did. Yeah, that's a good sense of humor.
Yes.
And he didn't care.
No, he didn't. He didn't care what they said. Senator Danforth tells me he'd been ill for some time, but the details on the cause of death have not yet been released.
But you talk about an example of the epitome of a statesman. When you have your opponents or people that are outside of your political arena singing your praises, it doesn't get any better than that.
No.
It does
And
not.
the Democrat, the D and the R kind of went by the wayside when you were dealing with Kit Bond.
Andy, thank you. Well, Missouri's top politicians are reacting to Bond's passing. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe released a statement that reads in part, Kit Bond was a skilled statesman, public servant, and a man who truly loved Missouri. I am blessed to have known Kit and honored to call him a friend and a mentor. Missouri Senior Senator Josh Hawley saying in part, what a champion for Missouri. He served his state and his nation with the utmost distinction for decades, and he was above all a fine man.
Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe has ordered all U.S. and Missouri flags to be flown at half-staff at all government buildings and grounds across the state until Bond is buried on May 22nd. There will be a state memorial service at noon next Tuesday, May 20th, in the state capitol rotunda. A celebration of life will take place at 1 o'clock Thursday, May 22nd at Ladue Chapel Presbyterian Church. And we continue to look at the life and legacy of Kit Bond on our website, fox2now.com.